Hey guys, it's Lukian, and today I'm going to be doing the Booktube Real Talk tag. I believe is what it's called. I've actually been meaning to do this tag for a really long time, since it was like big on Booktube like 2 years ago or something, and I just never got around to it, but I ended up watching someone else's tag video, and I re-looked at the questions, and I was like, I feel like I would have a lot to say about some of this stuff, and I ended up with this. And I tend not to script my videos. The only time I've ever really had, like, a script have been for, like, my review videos, like, or if I'm doing, like, a plot synopsis. Like, for my Chain of Gold review, I went through the entire plot of that book, so I didn't need notes, because I couldn't remember all of that. It was, like, a 600-page book, but, for this, I did just want to have some notes so that I'm not just kind of, like, floundering. I do have some things that I'm just gonna, like, refer to, but for the most part, it will kind of just be off the cuff. So yeah, let's just get into it, because I suspect that this video will be very long. So the first question is, what's something nobody told you about Booktube before you started your channel? So, I actually don't know any people, like, in real life who watch Booktube or really even know what Booktube is outside of, like, me. So, I didn't have anyone, like, in real life tell me anything. But I had, like, before I started my Booktube channel, I did watch a lot of it, and I watched videos on, like, things about the community and stuff, and I feel like there are a couple things that nobody really talks about in their videos. Granted, I did start, like, 4 years ago, so a lot of stuff, like, has changed. But I would say, like, the main thing that I didn't really hear about was that, like, how helpful actually doing Booktube and YouTube is for, like, insecurities and stuff. Like, I used to be that kid who, like, at a restaurant would not even talk to the waiter or the waitress or whoever was serving or whatever, like, taking your order. I was just very timid, and I still am. Like, it takes a while for me to, like, be comfortable around some people, but I feel like talking to a camera for, like, the past 4 years and knowing that there's someone on the other end watching has been, like, really helpful to me. And I feel like I've gotten way better at public speaking, like when I need to do so for school, like for presentations or stuff. And I think that that has definitely helped me, and I don't think anybody really talks about that, because I feel like most people who read are introverts, and we're kind of becoming extroverts by doing YouTube and stuff. We're, like, putting ourselves out there. So I guess I never really heard, like, how helpful it is for that sort of stuff. And I feel like I also haven't really heard about, like, how caring some people in the book community are. Like, if you see someone, like, on Twitter or Instagram or, like, YouTube itself talking about, like, how they had, like, a rough time or are having a rough time, it's really nice to see, like, some people kind of flock to that person and be really kind and nice to them and try to help them out. And I think that's one of the better things about how small the Booktube community is, like, in the grand scheme of YouTube, and how niche we kind of are, because, like, it's, like, I feel like when one person is having a bad day, like, a lot of people come and try to help that person, and I really like that aspect. But on the flip side, I think definitely I did not hear about, like, how kind of toxic book Twitter is, and how clicky, I guess, Booktube can be at points. Like, I don't think it's intentional, like, the clicky part of it, but, like, I feel like a lot of times you're not really, like, unless you are a big booktuber, like, you're not really fully integrated into the community. Like, for, obviously, like, I have a smaller channel and everything, and I feel like it's kind of hard to get out there and, like, not get the same opportunities, but kind of just, like, be on an equal playing field as, like, the people with, like, larger followings, I guess, or, like, more subscribers. And I feel like until you reach that kind of same caliber of subscribers or viewers or what have you, you're kind of not fully accepted into the community, I guess. And again, like, I really don't think it's purposeful. And it is kind of, like, discouraging or maybe, like, isolating, I guess, when you, like, comment on a bigger booktuber's video and they don't respond, but they do take the time to respond to, like, their friends. And it's like, you can talk to your friends anytime. But, like, there are obviously a ton of booktubers who have, like, 100, 200, 300,000 subscribers, and do take the time to respond to every single comment, and I really appreciate that. And I know, like, people have a lot of time on their like, don't have a lot of time to, like, respond to every single comment, but it can just feel a little bit isolating when you're not immediately accepted, when, like, if you're like, if your growth is not, like, instantaneous. You know, I feel like it's hard to grow when you're not really part of the community fully, if that makes any sense. And there are, of course, exceptions. Like, I've had conversations, like, you know, like, direct conversations with bigger booktubers. Like, I've done buddy reads with some of them, and I just feel like if every single creator, like, kind of opened their eyes and arms a little bit, booktube would be more equal, like, across the board, and there wouldn't really be a dichotomy between smaller creators and larger. And then the whole thing with Twitter and everything, like, book Twitter is just, like, a cesspool, and I kind of hate it. It's, like, really deteriorating for, like, mental health and everything, because, like, when one small thing happens, everyone just, like, loses their mind and kind of just, like, goes and just attacks that person without really hearing what they have to say or really fully understanding what the controversy or drama is about. And I think that the way that BookTube handles drama is just really not good. Like, it's kind of honestly really annoying and discouraging and headache-inducing, because you kind of just feel like everything just feels kind of futile, because, like, nobody is moving forward because they're just, like, attacking and not listening most of the time. Like, there is obviously drama that is valid, like everything with J.K. Rowling, or, like, people that are actually discriminatory and have prejudice and are racist or sexist or misogynist or whatever. That is obviously very valid, but there will be times when, like, a booktuber or an author will kind of misspeak or make a mistake, and it's kind of just like they have no hope of ever, like, getting back, like, into the community in the same way. It's kind of just like everyone is waiting for someone else's fall of grace and doesn't want them to ever climb their way out of that hole, if that makes any sense. It's kind of just like a swarm of bees that goes to that person and stings them without really hearing what they have to say, and it kind of just snowballs, like, especially on Twitter, because one person that you follow is mad at this person, and then you get mad at them, and then someone that follows you gets mad at them, and then someone that follows that person that follows you gets mad at them, and it's kind of just like this never-ending cycle, and it's really, really, like, not good and unhealthy. Like, I remember something from, like, 2019, it was like, there were some smaller creators talking about how, like, everyone and their mother was becoming Book of the Month affiliates, or were involved with the Book of the Month. And then there was this whole thing where they thought that Read with Cindy and Emma Books were, like, attacking people or, like, making fun of them because they were not Book of the Month affiliates or something. It was so ridiculous, and it got so blown out of proportion. But for, like, a week, everyone was just attacking them and, like, making threads about it and subtweeting. And it was just so ridiculous, and, like, Cindy even had to make, like, a response video and talk about it. And the fact that she even had to do that is just so, like, so ridiculous to me. And I just don't really understand how someone could just instantly attack someone else without even stopping to maybe hear what they have to say, or hearing an apology, or hearing an explanation. Instead, they just take whatever intent they think it was and run with it, instead of maybe messaging the person or talking to them directly, or, like, you know what I mean. Like, it's kind of just like everyone starts subtweeting, and it's just not handled in a way that is healthy for anybody. Like, I remember another thing with Cindy. She read, like, her airplane seatmate's romance book and didn't end up liking it, and she made a video about it that got a ton of views, and I really liked the video. I thought it was really funny. And everyone just assumed that she was attacking the romance genre and invalidating it, and invalidating the readers of the romance genre. And people were saying, like, if you don't think you'll like romance, don't read it. But, like, how are you supposed to know that you don't like it unless you read it? Like, I just really don't understand that. And it was just, like, immediately, like, the flip of a switch, everyone just turned on her for, like, no reason at all. And, like, if you had just watched the video and watched her explanations, or, like, even thought for a second about it, like, I feel like it was just so ridiculous, and it was just not fair at all, and nobody gave her the chance to defend herself. And the fact that she would even have to defend herself is just so crazy to me. Like, I just don't understand it. And then, like, another thing with Caleb, he made a video talking about how, like, reacting to movies that kind of exploit illnesses for the sake of it being, like, a teen romance, like The Fault in Our Stars, or Everything Everything, or some other friggin' movies, and people just immediately thought that he was making fun of the illnesses, which made no sense. And then there were entire threads about it on Twitter from people who hadn't even watched the video and were just going off of hearsay. And it was so crazy. Like, he literally has not made a video on his actual channel since that video. And he's made, like, a couple videos, like, on his Patreon and then, like, on his second channel talking about it. And it just is really, really discouraging to see people immediately going and just attacking without stopping for a moment and thinking about what they are saying or what the other person is saying and what their intent might be. And that also brings me to another point where there was, like, this whole article about what you should and should not say and, like, things that are offensive to say. And there were some things that I did understand, like, you shouldn't be calling people crazy or insane, because there are people that have, you know, that sort of stuff. And, like, I totally get that, but there was a thing where, like, you shouldn't say touch grass, like, you know, go out and touch some grass and get, like, a reality check, because there are people that can't go outside. And then there was one who was like, can't read, like, you can't even read. That's offensive because there are people who are illiterate. Like, what? And then there was, like, this article, this, like, response to the article, where it was like, that just doesn't make any sense, because then we wouldn't even be able to say, like, go take a hike or go on a walk, because that's offensive because there are people that can't walk. Like, it was just, I think people, the thing with that whole article is, I think people are just trying to twist anybody's words or intents or, you know, whatever, to make themselves seem more woke by calling it out. I think people are just so obsessed with canceling others to make themselves seem more, like, in tune, and active, and, like, more of, like, a social justice person. Like, I remember, again, Cindy, like, she made a video, like, her Six of Crows review in literally 2018, and, like, 2 years later, people were saying that some of the things she said in that were, like, not good. I don't even remember what they were. And then people were just trying to cancel her, like, 2 years after the fact. And it was something about, like, age or something, or, like, how she wanted Inej and Kaz to, like, get together. And people were saying that that was wrong, and that she was, like, dismissing their trauma or something. And then there was another thing where Lee Bardugo said something about how white people shouldn't use their oppression to invalidate the oppression of, like, people of color. And people just immediately attacked her by saying, like, oh, white people have never had oppression, you don't know what you're talking about, you shouldn't have said that. And she went on Twitter and said, you know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have used that word, it was the wrong thing to do. And people still were saying, like, that's a horrible apology, you should say that on Instagram as well. The fact that you would even say that is just so ridiculous. And it's like, can you not give people room to grow and to accept that what they did was wrong and change that? Like, I just don't really understand. It's like, you do one thing wrong and then you're immediately out. And it's like, there's so much bloodlust on Twitter and in the online community that I don't think is talked about, and I think needs to be addressed, and needs to be people need to be warned about it, because if you just say one thing where you probably didn't even mean it like that, and you end up just immediately, it's like, again, your fall from grace, and everyone just turns on you, and it's just really gross to me. Thankfully, I have never been directly involved in any drama or anything, because, like, I always think twice about what I'm gonna say. I always make sure to, like, not get involved in other people's drama, and I just try not to be on Twitter, like, as much as possible. Like, I will post a link to my video, and I'll maybe scroll it, like, once or twice a day, and then I'll just leave, because it's so hostile, and I'm just really not a fan of it. And the whole fact that people are just okay with canceling other people and, like, acting like they don't exist. Like, obviously there's things with J.K. Rowling, like, I think she should definitely have been called out, and, you know, people should kind of stop supporting her books or what have you. But, I can't really think of other examples at the moment. but the fact that people are just so ready to cancel others and are just jumping the gun to attack other people is really kind of disgusting to me. So I think something that nobody told me when I started Booktube is like how to kind of navigate your way through social media and just making sure that you are trying not to get involved in drama directly or indirectly. Okay, that got really deep and I talked about that for like 15 minutes. So we're going to move on to the second question, which is, what is your opinion on typical Booktube videos, wrap-ups, TBRs, hauls, etc.? I really don't care either way. Like, I feel like people should just be able to make whatever kinds of videos they want. And, like, video gatekeeping, I'm just not interested in that at all. I think it's just unhealthy. And I think people should just be able to make whatever freaking videos they want. The only one that I really do out of that list of 3 is wrap-ups. I try to do monthly wrap-ups, and, like, I just like being able to talk about every single book I've read, because I obviously don't have time to do a book review for every single book that I've read, because I read, like, 150 books a year. So, doing wrap-ups is an easier, shorter form of that. And I do hauls sometimes. Like, I've done a Christmas book haul, a birthday book haul, and then I did also do a book haul in, like, 2018, in the beginning of 2018. But I just feel like I don't buy enough books anymore to, like, do a book haul every month or every couple of months, and I just don't really find it that interesting to talk about books that I haven't really read yet. And I always have trouble making the small amount of book hauls that I do to be interesting, if that makes any sense. But I honestly think that those kind of 3 types of videos are a really good place to start if you're starting on Booktube, and it's a good place to begin, because doing things that are more off the cuff, like tag videos maybe, or like discussion videos or book reviews, are harder to do when you're not used to talking in front of a camera or talking about books in this type of way. And I think that wrap-ups, TBRs, and hauls and stuff like that is an easy formula to do when you're starting out. I personally don't really do TBRs because, again, I find it difficult to talk about books that I have not really read yet, because I usually don't know a ton about books before I get into them. I usually just know, like, a couple of tidbits here and there, and I just don't really find that interesting to talk about or interesting to watch. But again, like, if people want to do TBRs and all that sort of stuff, that's totally fine. It's just not personally what I like to do, and I feel like if I were to do those videos, I wouldn't really be proud of them, and it would kind of just be like throwaway videos for me. So, also, I just find it very repetitive. Like, it would be kind of annoying for me to talk about a TBR like a month in advance, because my TBRs always change. Like, I do keep lists, like, in the reminders app on my phone, but other than that, I don't really make it very official, because I know that my TBR is going to change, and I know that if I talked about them in a video, I would just end up talking about them again in my wrap-up, and it would just be really, like, redundant. The only time I have done TBRs will have been, like, for readathons, and that's usually, like, a shorter readathon where I am pretty confident in the books that I will read. Okay, question number 3 is, what is an assumption you had about Booktube before you joined? Was it proven to be correct or not? I thought it would be really easy in the beginning to, like, get views and to kind of blow up and get a bunch of subscribers. And, like, I've been doing this for 4 years, and I have, like, 120 subscribers, which I'm fine with. I kind of don't really care about views or subscribers anymore. I kind of just make the videos that I want to make. And this is kind of just, like, a hobby, and it's a fun thing to do. And so I really don't care about that sort of stuff anymore, but I did think in the beginning that it would be really easy, because I watched a lot of bigger booktubers, and I still watch a lot of bigger booktubers, and, like, I saw a lot of people with, like, 100, 200, 300, whatever subscribers, and I'd be like, that's gonna be me. And I kind of just didn't really think about how much luck really depends on this, because, like, I think we all work hard. We all work equally hard for our videos, and it kind of just really depends on luck and timing and all that sort of stuff on your amount. Like, I think skill, like, nothing, it's not a meritocracy, so, like, we all have, like, I think an equal level of skill, like, kind of. And so it really just depends on like luck and timing, and I don't really think I thought about that when I was starting. But, you know, over the past 4 years, I have kind of reflected on it a little bit more, so that would be my answer for that. And then question number 4 is, what is something you've done that has helped you grow your audience? So the 2 most viewed videos on my channel are my 24-hour readathon. That was like a Christmas readathon from, was it 2017? I think it might have been 2017, like December of 2017, possibly. And my Kiss Quotient review. And so I'd say like vlogs and then that one ranty review. And so, yeah, I guess those helped me grow my audience. And those are videos that still get views, like to this day, despite being like couple years old. And yeah, so I guess that's my answer, and I actually have been kind of debating doing another sort of ranchy review in the same style of my Kiss Quotient review, because I recently read The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, like, earlier in the year, and I did keep a lot of notes about it, because I did plan on doing a review, and I do think that I will probably do one sometime this summer, in a similar way that I did my Kiss Quotient one, not because I, like, want views or anything, or what have you. I just thought that video was really fun to make, and I really liked the, like, comments and the interactions with it, so that was really fun to do, and I will probably do that again this summer. I do want to clarify that I am not a hater of romance. I love a lot of romance books. Most of the romance books that I do enjoy, that I do read, I really enjoy, but there are some that I have not enjoyed, and I think they're fun to review because there's a lot to talk about. Like, you can talk about so much, like with romance books, I found. So, yeah, if you want another video like like my Kiss Quotient review, it's probably coming to you sometime this summer. Okay, question number 5 is, what is a common mistake you see new booktubers making, or one that you made? I think I see a lot of new booktubers trying really hard to be popular and only doing the kinds of videos that are popular. And I think that that is kind of not really the best idea, because you can't predict what is going to be popular. You can't predict what people are going to like. And so I think you should just really, it sounds cheesy, but just really be yourself. Just do the kinds of videos that you want to make, and don't really care about what other kinds of videos people are making, because it's really not going to have an effect on you. Just do what you want to do, and if you do get a lot of views, great. If you don't, that's also great. Like, unless you are planning on doing booktube as a career, which probably would not be a good idea, it really doesn't matter. Like, your views or subscribers or whatever, it can feel kind of isolating to be a smaller creator, but, you know, just be a go-getter. And then another thing that I see them making is, like, I see new booktubers, mistakes that I see new booktubers making, is putting other people down to make themselves seem better. Like, downgrading other people to elevate themselves. And, like, we've seen this. It's just kind of icky to, like, just make other people feel bad to make yourself feel better. And, like, we've all done it, like, in real life. Like, we're humans. But I think that if you're a new booktuber, again, don't care about what other people are doing. Just be yourself and let the cards fall where they may. Question number 6 is, what are your thoughts on working with publishers and sponsorships? So, again, I don't really care either way. I've never done a sponsorship, but I have worked with publishers in the form of, like, receiving, an ARC or a book for an honest review, which I have done, but other than that, I don't think I've really done anything like working with a publisher or like a sponsorship. I have never really done anything that was super official or required a contract or anything. I have been reached out to by some like publishers or like smaller publishers or even like some of the bigger publishers, just like participate in a readathon. Or a read-along, but I think that was an instance where they just sent an email to like every booktuber under the sun and their mother, so, you know, it was kind of just like that sort of thing. But again, like, I really don't care if people work with publishers or if they do sponsorships. Like, if you want to hustle, you can hustle, but like I don't really do that sort of stuff. One, because I don't have time, and two, I don't really trust myself to like, you know, sign a contract. I'm like 16 and I'm a friggin' bean, so like it would just be like uncomfortable for me to do a contract and everything, and to like I'm also not big enough to like get really big sponsorships or anything, so I'm fine with just receiving ARCs for review and stuff like that, because it's really easy to do. I can either make a full video review or I can just talk about it in my wrap-ups. Oh, also, I kind of cut myself off, but like when I have been reached out to, unless it's a book that I'm really, really interested in, and that I was planning on reading before, I usually will decline, just because I don't really, like YouTube is a hobby, and I don't really want to have to post something on a certain date and talk about something like this. And also, if it's a smaller publisher, I don't want to like accept a book for review and possibly not like it and damage maybe the view or the perception of that book or that author, because it would just hurt them in the long run. I do think though if the right sponsorship came to me, I would definitely accept it. I think for some people like it's a good source of side income, or some people who are like really like big booktubers who do this full time do sponsorships all the time, and that's totally fine. And I think that if you just handle it in the right way and you're upfront about it and straightforward, I don't really care either way. Like Cindy from Read with Cindy, she is really straightforward about her sponsorship. She's like, yeah, I'm selling out, but I don't really care. I've been a sellout my whole life, or you know, like whatever. She'll make it funny, and she'll just slide it in there, like, and by the way, this video is sponsored by Skillshare or whatever. And like, I think that if you're cool about it and you're not like acting high and mighty about it, or defensive about it, then you should be fine. But personally, I don't care, but I know some other people do. But just like wrap that up. If you want to do sponsorships, do them. If you don't stress out about it. And again, don't care about what other people are doing. Question number 7 is, do you think Booktube is dying? I definitely don't think Booktube is dying per se, but I do think at the moment it is pretty stagnant. I do think that it is expanding in different ways, like it's becoming a little more mainstream, and like there are articles written about it, and there are booktubers featured in like magazines or newspapers, or even like on blurbs on books and stuff, or like in marketing and stuff like that, and I think that's really cool. But I think that for a really long time, Booktube has had a formula, and that formula is kind of running dry, like the well is running dry. It's been milked like a lot, and I think there are some booktubers who maybe started off in like the early days of Booktube, like 2012, 2013, so on and so forth, who have been making the same exact types of videos that they have since their beginning, and I think I have seen their subscriber counts stagnate and remain the same because they are just not branching out and they are not doing anything differently. And I think that they just need more diversity in their videos and their types of videos. I think, again, Booktube has had a formula for a really long time, and it needs a new one, or it just needs a facelift, I guess. And I'm not trying to say like Booktube lacks creativity or anything, like I'm not trying to be shady, but I do think that some of the original luster and shine of the Booktube community is wearing off, and I think that it needs, you know, a little bit of a revamp, or it needs to kind of get something new. Someone needs to bring something new to the table, or a bunch of people need to bring something new to the table. And I do think that it's kind of obvious that some of the original Booktube creators have kind of lost their love for it, and I think that is kind of evident in their videos, in my personal opinion. So Booktube itself is not dying, but I think that it is kind of just remaining, as I said, very stagnant, and it needs to expand and develop and improve, as does everything. So, and then the 8th and final question is, tag your friends, or who do you tag, essentially? And I know this tag is pretty old, so I'm not 100%, like most of the people that I follow have done this tag, so if you want to do this tag, please feel free. You can say I tagged you. I wasn't tagged by anyone, I just wanted to do this, so. But that is the end of this very, very long video. I'm gonna go eat, because I'm friggin' hungry, and then I'll have to edit this very, very long video. But I really hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love to know some of your answers to these questions, and if you have done this tag or are going to do this tag, please let me know because I would love to check it out. But that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. All my social media links are in the description box below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!